You're now listening to the Zod and Drea podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode.
Welcome back to the Zod and Drea podcast, number 83.
83. Wow. Okay, let me just kind of absorb that. I know I say this every time, but it just amazes me still. Like, wow, we've got so many.
Yeah, it's a lot. What's killing me is the fact that they're all stored on some hard drive somewhere. Like, that's a lot. And they're backed up. I back up everything on that website, so everything is always backed up. In case we get off the air, you will always be able to find us because I will reload it somewhere.
Thank goodness for archives.
No doubt. So everything is good. This weekend was good. We went to go see a couple movies, of course, with MoviePass because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and shout out to Jennifer Hillsbot. We celebrated her wedding.
You say Hillsbot.
Oh, did I say it wrong?
Boss.
Yeah, Boss. Hill's Boss.
Yeah, Jen Hill's boss. She got married, so it was good to go over to her spot. And of course, we went and we did the voter registration.
That was a great Saturday morning.
Yeah, so we had a great Saturday doing the voter registration out here for the Black Outreach, Latino Outreach over Stronger Together AZ, which we are both chairs of. And we made sure that we had Arizona and Arizonans. I mean, we did a lot of traveling around to get some of those signatures, but man, the team was awesome. So we're going to, if we haven't seen it, we are going to wind up putting it on the Zod and Drea Facebook page so you can see what we did. So in case you are in the area and you want to, not sleep in on Saturday and you actually want to help change Arizona for the better, then, team up with us.
It was all volunteers. Like 9 people showed up.
It was not. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a bunch of people who showed up and they killed it. So shout out to all of them. So let's see what's up. We're going to be talking about, in the entertainment, we're going to be talking about Justice League. Because Justice League is the hot movie that's out that everybody's talking about right now. So we're going to talk about that. But, is Superman alive?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
We're going to talk about that.
Politics. Let's see. What are we talking about?
Trump's Twitter usage for gratitude.
So we're going to see what this idiot is talking about and why now he needs people to sit there and suck his nuts.
This dictator.
For doing his job. That's what kills me. Like, just do your job.
Right.
Do your job,
it's
boy.
It's like he's a little kid. Like, hey, I woke up today. Shouldn't you be thankful for that?
That's clown. So, of course, we're going to finalize this. And the main topic for today that we're going to be speaking about is since #MeToo, how will workplaces change as a result? So we're going to discuss how the workplace should change after everybody is now pretty much molesting everybody everywhere. So let's see what we have to talk about. What you want? Let's go to Justice League.
All right, Justice League. So, I mean, I'm again not a huge fan of DC Comics. The only character I'm really a big fan of course, is Wonder Woman. But I enjoyed this movie.
What do you mean, of course?
Of course, because she's Wonder Woman. I had her underoos growing up.
She's a chick?
She's a chick, and she's a badass chick. Underoos and all. Loved her.
Anyway, Batman is obviously the coolest DC character ever made. This dude's got no powers, and he still kicks ass.
Because he's rich.
Doesn't matter. He also knows, like, every martial art out there. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't know anything about Batman, do you?
I know my Christian Bale Batman, okay? Christopher Nolan's Batman
I said
is who
the
I like.
Character, Batman.
I didn't follow the comic. I just know Christian Bale.
I'm sorry, Batman. This is controversial, but I think Batfleck is way better than Christian Bale. Yeah, that's what they call him. Batfleck is way better than Christian Bale. If it was Christian Bale's Batman versus Batfleck's Batman.
No, I think my Christian Bale Batman would.
They
would go toe to toe. Yes, he would.
He would so get his ass handed to him
with his voice. How's his voice is so deep?
Oh, he would. Yo, we are gonna watch. You pick which one you want to watch.
Okay.
And then we're gonna. In fact, no. You know what? Screw that. We are gonna watch.
We're gonna watch it tonight.
Batman
we're gonna do it.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it. Oh boy. Xavier is wrapped around my wire. Sorry for the static, people.
Oh,
Xavier, my cat, is wrapped. What are you doing? Anyways. Oh my God.
So Justice League. Okay, what are your thoughts about it?
Oh my God.
If
really?
you guys haven't seen the review yet.
Yeah. So the review is that it flopped. Because they only made $94 million this time around, which came in way lower than Suicide Squad's opening weekend, Wonder Woman's opening weekend, and I think Wonder Woman did like 103, Suicide Squad like 118. who was the other one?
Batman versus Superman.
Batman vs Superman came out. Yeah, because this is the fourth in the DCU. They did like 138 or something like that. So they all made money and cracked 100. This with the super. I mean, the super friends are all in it. Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. Yes, he's alive. Like worst kept secret. A Cyborg and the Flash. Like all of these characters are all at once in here, and that is DC's fault because they did not vet it. They threw all of these characters in as a segment of Batman versus Superman in one segment.
Like, I would love to have seen, like, for Cyborg, more story about Cyborg.
He's an interesting character. Now, like I was telling Drea, like, when I was a kid sneaking into my older brother Neil's bedroom to check out all his comic books when he was away, like, Cyborg, when I was a little kid, Vision was my man. Like, I just love Vision. I would just draw Vision. But then growing up, it was Cyborg and Luke Cage, which is so cool because these are like all these characters, these random characters are actually now like out. Anyway, they're actually in the movies. But Cyborg, he was actually really cool in the books. You got to read it. I got to pull some of the stuff up. But Justice League, you think that all these characters, it would be like, man, you know, the people, at least the $100 million crowd would come just to see Batman and Superman. The $103 million crowd would come out just to see Wonder Woman, you know, and then the Flash and Cyborg are new, and Aquaman, you know, all the ladies are going to see. Nah, it didn't do it. So apparently people didn't want to see, I guess, Zack Snyder's Vision because he was so dark all the time. All his stuff was so dark all the time that the bright spot was Wonder Woman, which was lighthearted, and that's why it made a lot more money because, number one, it's Wonder Woman. Like, who doesn't want to see Wonder Woman? But number two, it was lighter. It was good. Despite it being a period piece, it was lighter. And Batman vs. Superman was dark. Man of Steel, dark.
Dark, yeah.
Suicide Squad, dark.
Oh, really dark, yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh yeah, that's what I left out, Man of Steel. Anyway, what did you think? I mean, I know Wonder Woman
was awesome. Amazon's, of course, fantastic. I liked how they built up a little bit of the character for the Flash. Like he was your comic relief. I like that.
Yeah, he was definitely the comic relief.
You know, Jason Momoa, yeah, pretty cool. He was like your renegade character
I
guy.
him too.
Yeah, he was pretty cool. I think all the characters were really good. Even your Batfleck, he was pretty good too.
I mean, Batman, I like Batman. I mean, just as a character in general, but. And
it was entertaining.
It was very entertaining, and you know, they did what they did. They had to go up against this big god named Steppenwolf. And if you see Batman v Superman, you'll see where all of it was leading into this. But the problem was Batman v Superman was pretty much the last movie besides Wonder Woman. You know, it only came out a year ago, and you know they were already doing this. So they need to do and focus on independent films for their characters in order to make money, and they didn't do it. And that's why Marvel was killing it.
It was a lot going into it. Like just a lot.
Even bringing in Joss Whedon to direct and reshoot and rewrite, it still didn't. It was too late. Too much of Zack Snyder. So I don't know. I think that they need to get rid of Zack Snyder.
Yeah, well, I think Zack Snyder, he's not going to be directing for a while, right? Because of the family loss, right?
Well, his family loss, but I mean, I hope he does. But this is just too dark. He's too much of a dark person. It didn't work, you know. So we'll see what they do if they even make the $300 million back, but that'll be up to them. So we'll see where they move forward. Until then, Black Panther comes out in February. Woo! Go Marvel. So we are going to discuss now the Trump's Twitter tirade that he had regarding everything he was doing in China.
So can you repeat again what this guy tweeted?
All right, let me try and look for it again. All right.
Again, why did Twitter? I mean, why do they leave his account open?
All right. So, in case you don't know, Trump went over to China to go do his thing. You know, he does whatever thing Trump does. Which is usually to try and make more money for himself. And
right, those were all business deals he was doing.
Yeah,
ain't nothing for us. That
so
happened.
If you don't know who Lavar Ball is, if you he's the guy who pretty much says his sons are like the best thing since sliced bread, and that nobody can be. He said one of his sons, Lonzo. He said Lonzo, who is now in the NBA.
Lakers, right?
He made it. Yep, he made it to the Lakers. Can beat Kobe Bryant. Like, So the
Look,
guy
you can
is
be a proud dad. I
look,
get
you
that.
know, but dad is on drugs. It's like, you know, there's certain things dad needs to shut the hell up about. But they say that he says this stuff because he is a professional troll. They say he is a troll, and he likes to get his name out there no matter what.
So is that making pretty similar to Trump
Yes,
in that way?
and that's what they're saying. It's like Lavar Ball versus Trump. So anyway, Lonzo, you know, he's playing in the Lakers and doing his thing, but he has his other sons, which are which are playing. I think one's either in high school or college or something like that. But one is at UCLA, and he's possibly a hopeful. And what's his name? Daniel, something or whatever. Right? Oh, Leangelo Ball. He and Cody Riley and Jalen Hill were over in China, and they were arrested last week on suspicion of stealing some sunglasses over like Louis Vuitton or whatever in China. Got busted, got caught. Now, you're supposed to be playing games. You're over there stealing, and they're going to toss you in jail. So you're in a Chinese jail. Trump is over there shaking hands with Duterte of
the Philippines.
And hanging out with his boy Putin and doing all this other nonsense. But he's also probably I think it's Xi, right? Z, president of China. Do you know?
Z.
I think it's Z, XI. I can't remember, but I think it's that's the I should know. I mean, it's terrible. Yeah, it's President Xi Jinping. I'm sorry. Yes. So Z, you know, he probably just chatted him up and said, you know, could you let these idiots go, whatever, the kids go. But the problem is the president was sitting there wanting to be praised, saying something like he hopes that these students will praise him for getting him out of jail. So the students, you know, they got out of jail, they're back home, and they said, you know, thanks Trump and then, you know, the United States for getting us out. All of them had statements.
Right.
That wasn't enough for Trump. No, he wanted more. So LeVar Ball, they think he trolled him and said something like, whatever, you know, you didn't do anything. So, of course, Trump has to go to Twitter, because that's all he ever does on the toilet at 3 a.m., and writes, now that the 3 basketball players are out of China and saved from years in jail, LeVar Ball, the father of Leangelo, is unaccepting of what I did for his son, and that shoplifting is no big deal. I should have left them in jail. So this is a president who did the job of a president that you're supposed to be doing, and he wanted gratitude for this, and a pat on the back, and his knees sucked, because he did his job. Like, I mean, how many other people? I mean, should we, like, make sure all the McDonald's workers who make sure that the fries are hot, that everybody gets gratitude?
He does not understand. You are a public servant. You are upholding the highest, most important seat of public service. That means every American you have sworn to protect. Why is it so hard for you to understand that you're not who gives a shit? You're supposed to be protecting us. You're supposed to be saving Americans and protecting our rights. Yes, these guys screwed up, and their university has suspended them too, so they are dealing with those consequences. But holy crap, what kind of dictatorship is this where you want us to kiss your ring just because you did your job?
He's a clown Trump. I hate that dude.
Please listen carefully.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Zod.
And I'm Drea.
And we want you to check out the Zod and Drea podcast every Tuesday.
Where can everybody find us at?
You can always check us out on www.zodanddrea.com.
Where else?
You can always check us out also on Facebook at Zod and Drea.
Instagram?
Zod and Drea.
Snapchat?
Zod and Drea.
YouTube?
Zod and Drea.
I see a pattern.
So if you haven't caught that, catch us at Zod and Drea on all the social networks. But also, make sure you subscribe to the Zod and Drea podcast. Where?
At zodanddrea.com.
And also on YouTube and iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We're coming for you.
Let us know what you think. And if you want to be a guest, reach out to us.
And put all of your input into whatever our topics are for the week. So we hope to check you out and see you there.
Bye! Okay, let's get to this subject now. So since the hashtag #MeToo, how will workplaces change as a result?
So we're going to discuss a little bit about the #MeToo campaign and how the workplaces should at least, you know, what are they going to do in order to pretty much deal with some of this harassment that's been going on in the place of work. People just think of them as actors or, oh, they work in public service, they're senators and da-da-da. But these are workplaces.
Right. These are industries. This is where people are trying to make money and do their job.
You know, it should be something that's pretty simple. You know, you go to work, you're tired, you're in the morning, you go to work and
Any corporation in the United States that hires employees full time, an employee has to go through an orientation to train you on work harassment. So it's either that employee has to check off that they either read a booklet or they saw a video. That has to happen. Otherwise, that employee does not continue on with their employment. Even the Department of Labor and the government has these policies in place and has all these trainings in place.
So I'm looking on the Department of Labor now, and they're talking about some of these hostile work environment harassments and what it is. So examples of behaviors that may contribute would be discussing sexual activities, telling off-color jokes concerning race, sex, disability, or other protected bases, unnecessary touching, commenting on physical attributes, displaying sexual suggestive or racially insensitive pictures, using demeaning or inappropriate terms or epithets, using indecent gestures, using crude language, sabotaging a victim's work, engaging in hostile physical conduct. Why is it so hard for some people to be able to not do that stuff?
You know it.
Like, that's what so kills me.
And
It's like, hey,
right.
you see somebody saying, "Oh, look at her titty. Hey, let me give you a massage real quick,
Yeah.
Janet.
Look at that guy's ass. Hey, dude, come over here. Let me rub on those ham hocks.
Hey,
like,
let me tell you. Let's talk about your tits." I mean, it's like, I've got these TPS reports in front of me. All I want to do is get them submitted, and you're sitting there trying to fuck with me.
right. I am really. I applaud all the women that are coming out and finally feel like they have a voice to say and to tell and share their stories of what they've been dealing with for decades. I've also dealt with that myself. So this is a very powerful and important time for women and for men on just putting their foot down and making a stand that we're not going to take this anymore. But my question is, okay, so what is corporate America going to do about this now?
I mean, I'm not corporate America. You
Right,
can't ask
I
me,
can't.
But believe
But-
it or not, Fox, it looks like Fox has established a workplace culture panel after their harassment scandal. Now, if you don't know, but Ailes,
Oh yeah, Roger Ailes.
Roger Ailes, who had been running Fox forever, I mean, he had to go. Same with, bootleg ass Bill O'Reilly. He had to pay out $25 million to some of the things because they were sitting there convicted of, or at least accused of. I didn't necessarily go to court, but I guess Bill O'Reilly's had to because he had to pay $25 million, and it's not like he really fought it, but he was forced out in the spring. Roger Ailes had to pay like $40 million. So they have now established a group, workplace culture panel after their sexual harassment. So it's good that, Fox is getting into this, but I'm wondering what it's going to do. What is this panel supposed to lead to? Because these are people that were in power. I'm surprised Hannity hasn't come out, doing something stupid now that O'Reilly's out. But people are coming out from every which way talking about Me Too and what has happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
And we're wondering what the culture is. If the culture is pretty much mostly men able to get away with what they feel they can get away with, it's like, okay, what are you going to do about it?
Right.
What are you going to do?
What's going to happen now the next time? Let's say you're a director and you're, having a casting call and you got hundreds and hundreds of hot young girls that you're trying to then hire for your lead actress. Are you going to change what you're doing?
On that casting couch, it's serious. It's serious business, just like that Harvey Weinstein was doing. But people in power, they prey upon people who know that they need something. It's like, I'm like, okay, so what should, obviously you have to be within the guidelines of the Department of Labor in order to, maintain a good business environment for people and safe. But it's like, it kind of reminds me of even back then, way back in the 70s and 80s when I was going to school, even really in the 90s, early 90s. It's like the one thing we had were guidance counselors.
Mm-hmm.
You remember? It's like if there was a problem, you ran to your guidance counselor no matter what it was. It's like, who is the guidance counselor in the workplace? HR?
But HR does not at all represent the employees.
And that's what I'm talking about. HR doesn't.
Mm-mm.
Like, they want to make a buck. They're just there for hiring, and, they want to make sure that your reports are in and, your merits, and that's their thing. But who is there to really protect the people? It's like, look, Roger just touched me, and I'm sure people do report these things to HR, and HR just forwards it somewhere else, forwards it somewhere where, okay, well, file it. Could you just Could you just be quiet about it? I mean, they may call someone in. I remember this. Let me tell you something. When I was working at Atlantic Mutual back in early 90s, so we're talking like 95, 96. And I worked there till about 98. So 96 to 98, I believe I worked there. Over in Atlantic Mutual, there's this one time when I had this boss. She was really cool, Renee, and she was really cool. And I had a friend down in who worked in the gym. But I also had a coworker who I swear was jealous of me, named Wendy. And Wendy did not like me, I don't think. She was the golden girl in her position. She was the golden girl. Me, I was like just some dude. I was a slacker, but I did my job well. And the thing is, I didn't just graphic design. I was also the only one there who knew anything about website design because that's what I had been doing for a year before 98 when I left. So I had already been doing graphic design for myself and learning the process, how to do it, and things like that. And I remember when they finally wanted the graphics department to start getting into website design, who do they call? Me, the guy who's been doing it, and they widely know that I do because I had started my company? No, Wendy. Wendy, we want you to train for this, whatever. So they bought her a program to learn. I'm like, I already know how to do that stuff. But they wanted her to do it.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one who was like their golden girl. All of this to say, one day I got called into Renee's office. And she's like, hey, Brent, yeah, sit down. I'm like, oh, what's going on? Yeah, there was a complaint that saw you touching someone in the gym. And I knew who they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, in the gym I was doing what? Yeah, that there may have been some touching or, something like, I didn't touch anybody. Now, she was the boss. At the time, Renee was not just the boss of the graphic design, but also the gym. So they were both employees. And I'm like, I didn't touch anybody. What are you talking about? Like, who am I going to be touching in the frigging gym? Like, what was I doing in the gym touching anybody? So I'm like, I bet I know who said something, even though I wasn't doing anything. So I knew this was an assistant in the gym at the time, but I also knew the guy who was running it, and I cornered him. He was cool. He's a cool dude. And I said, hey, I just got called into the office about this thing about touching somebody inappropriately. Do you know anything about it? He's like, I can't say anything. So meaning Renee heard from him, not from him as in he told her, but it was between them first. I already knew it was Wendy. The hater sat there and told on me about something, and even he said, I know it's something you wouldn't do. I didn't do that.
So how did you feel?
Well, number one, I had to work with this woman who I knew. The way that our cubicles worked, where it was one big cubicle. So she and I worked back to back. I got back to my office and she wouldn't look at me. And I was just staring at the back of her head because I know I was burning like I know my retinas were like Superman. I'm not saying that everybody's lying, and I'm not going to say that, but I think that in certain situations also, in this type of an environment, there are people who will lie in order to advance themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things you do have to... I forgot about that until just now.
Do you feel, though, when HR was talking to you, did you feel at all that they would support you? Like they were trying to be like...
It wasn't even HR. This is the funny thing. This wasn't HR who told me. Renee she was my boss's boss. So she was the full boss of the of our our whatever, our group.
Department, whatever.
Our department, thank you, our department. So she was the administration department. Like she was that department. They didn't even go to HR, which was funny, was because I used to work at HR right before I worked in the graphics department of this company. She believed me. But she had to address it. It was something that she had to address.
So how was that environment for you after that?
Well, I left not too long after that because I was like, okay, you want to be like that? That's when Cannabis asked me if I wanted to go on tour with him. He had asked me, I think, before that, and I wasn't sure about breaking off, but that definitely made it a lot easier. Went on 2 weeks to Hawaii to meet up with my friend Jamie, came back, put my business card in this thing. I was done. It was like a week after that I was out and I was on tour and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Wendy can stay here. The company has since folded. It folded a long time ago. And it just kills me when I think about that, where like anybody who knows me knows I'm not an inappropriate toucher. You know, it's like they know that I'm not that dude. I'm that dude. I made it. It's almost like my life's mission. I don't make the first move. That's really like my thing because I don't want to be accused. It's hard being a black person, especially in this country, because you can get accused of how many people and black men. I mean, God, Emmett Till died because he whistled. You know, there are many things, and how many black phantom people. You know, so in the workplace, the changes that have to come, there has to be protections on all sides. And I'm not saying that these women are wrong either. I'm not saying they're lying. But there has to be something put in place where you listen to both sides. Because as soon as somebody makes a claim, I saw a movie today about, God, I forgot what it was. It was on Netflix. And it was about a social worker who came over and she was talking to the guy who said, she explained to him, if somebody calls and says that you are abusing the child, it is my obligation to take the child away from this environment. He said, wait a minute, you're trying to tell me that somebody can just literally just call out of the blue and just call you randomly, not knowing who I am, say this, and they can take my child? And she said, yes, because it's for the protection of the child. And using that logic, it's the same thing. Like someone can literally just say something and all of a sudden, you know, not to say that they're not wrong, but Al Franken, you know, is now on an ethics board. Kevin Spacey is now taken off of, you know, his TV shows and replaced immediately. And I know a lot of it has to do with money also, but, you know, people wind up being blacklisted because of an accusation. It's not a court of law. It's nothing. Michael Jackson, same thing, you know, it's like, boom, and he was even vindicated, really, because the kid came out and said, yeah, my dad actually did lie about that. But there are a lot of people who are straight up pervert. I mean, Roman Polanski, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Woody Allen and
Woody Allen, come on, he was caught sleeping with his adopted daughter.
This guy, Judge Roy Moore, this dude, he was in his 30s dating teenagers. Not just teenagers, 16-year-olds.
13.
Oh, well.
14, he approached them.
He's denying those. He's admitted to the 16-year-olds.
Right.
He said, you know, well, the mother said I could or something like that. This is a guy who will go a couple years younger. You know, like,
he will claim he never dated, but that's different than I touched or I took her to getting some dinner or took her home. That's different. We know what the language is. And Kevin Spacey, you're a perv. You admitted that you're a perv. You're a total perv.
I know these guys are. Like, I know a lot of them are. But, you know, there have to be protections for the harassment that goes on in the workplace.
So we've got to ask, like, okay, with all of these trainings and all of these things that are available now to anybody's fingertips from a corporation or whoever it is you work for, that's obviously not working. So when I hear that the government, especially, what is it, the Senate now is even being investigated by some of their members because they had about $5 million worth of hush money that they gave people for claims of harassment. Well, I read that the statement that then the government's saying is like, well, we're going to train our staff better. That's not going to work. So what will work? What is going to work and what's going to stick in somebody's mind before they then do something inappropriate to know that, hey, you got repercussions?
I don't know, and I don't know what the answer is. I just know that you can have some haters in the workplace who can be out to get you.
Yep.
And it's pretty easy for them to do it. But then you have people who know that, and they may take advantage of that regardless and start rubbing your shoulders and, you know, massaging people's feet unwantedly or grab someone's ass or make an inappropriate joke about them. And, you know, it winds up coming out where they are a pervert or they always were, and they do need to be. How many priests have been hiding under the radar for how many decades for the same thing in the work environment?
Right. It's the abuse of power.
And then the cover-up from the Vatican.
The abuses of power and the intimidation. I was intimidated before. The people have used their power against me in a corporation, and I had to leave because I felt I didn't have a voice.
And someone tried to use their power in the same way, except as an against me.
Right.
You know, so we don't know how the workplace is going to wind up changing as a result, but it has to.
Something has to change. So I'm just asking, let's see what can be done. What options can we create? What new techniques or new skills or something? What can be done now so that we can stop this and get focused on making money?
Get focused on making money and just, you know, be a nice, safe environment for women and, you know, men who just come in and just want to work and make that dough and go home.
Does that mean we start unionizing? I don't know.
Who knows? Anyway, let us know what you think. I mean, have you been harassed? Have you been a victim of somebody saying that you were? Give us give us a little comment somewhere in our Facebook page.
Yeah, let us know. And let us know what you think of Justice League, too. 'Cause
Yeah.
Wonder Woman rules.
I mean, Wonder Woman's Wonder Woman, but Batman rules way more. I mean, come on. He does his thing. He's got a cape. Wonder Woman doesn't have a cape.
So keep an eye on us for this week and see some of our posts and pictures.
All right, people. We'll talk to you later.